Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I'm going to do a book review today for a book I read recently called Tomb of Gods by Brian Moreland. And this was my patron pick for the final quarter of 2024. And I'm really happy that my patron picked this for me, and we're going to talk all about it. So it's early in the morning for me. I've got my morning tea here, so if you want to join me in a nice cuppa, you can. So grab your tea and let's chat about the book. So Tomb of Gods is set in ancient Egypt. And I absolutely love ancient Egypt. I'm really geeky or nerdy about it, however you want to think about it. You know, it's one of my favorite ancient cultures, and so anything surrounding ancient Egypt, I'm all over. And so the premise of this story is that in 1935, British archaeologists vanish inside an Egyptian cave. A year later, one of those archaeologists, by the name of Dr. Riley, turns up with his body covered in mysterious scars and chanting gibberish. And nobody knows the source of these, nobody can really make it out. There's a few people that think what he's saying sounds a little bit like ancient Sumerian, but they aren't really sure. It's just really strange. And then eventually he dies, and his family ends up wondering what happened to him. So fast forward a few years later, his granddaughter Imogen is also a budding archaeologist, and she is determined to find out what happened to her grandfather. And she goes on a dig with the man that is taking over her grandfather's expedition by the name of Nathan Trummell. And of course, they've assembled a team of locals, and many of those locals are afraid of this tomb that is about to be excavated. Strange things have happened in the past. Strange things soon begin to happen as they dig deeper and deeper into the tomb. It is full of mysterious puzzles and twists and turns in the labyrinth of this tomb. And mysterious artifacts are found that seem like they are not from Earth, and mysterious codes have to be unraveled. It's just a wild ride, guys. I had so much fun reading this book. It's a very simple, straightforward book, but it's got all of your favorite elements in it. It's got mystery, it's got horror, it's got ancient history. It really reminded me at the beginning of the accounts I've read over the years of Howard Carter, the archaeologist that unearthed King Tut's tomb. That's just a really famous expedition, and I was just eating this up left and right. It was such a great little story. And I think it gave me those feelings, especially because it's set during that time. You know, it's set in the early 1900s. The author really makes you feel like you are there. And I love that about this book. And I would say that if you are a fan of The Mummy or Indiana Jones or Stargate, or all three. I'm a huge fan of all three, guys. I love the original Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser. I absolutely love Indiana Jones. And yes, guys, I love all of the Indiana Jones movies. So I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones. And then Stargate is one of my favorite science fiction movies of all time. So I'm just riveted to my seat when I'm reading this book because it has elements of all of those. As they go deeper and deeper into the tombs, they stumble upon a dark and treacherous underworld that might potentially lead them to be face to face with the original gods of ancient Egypt. It's just a mind-blowing adventure full of twists and turns and terrors and awe-inspiring sights and ancient treasures. Oh, guys, it was such a wild ride. So, let's take a sip of tea, and I'll tell you how I'd rank the book. So, I give this my highest ranking. This book soared for me. I absolutely loved it. I would definitely read it again. I highly recommend this book to anyone who likes ancient history, especially Egypt. And if you're fans of the movies I mentioned, you can't go wrong. This is absolutely right up your alley, in your wheelhouse, on the top of the hors d'oeuvre plate. It is just fantastic. So, make sure you pick it up. Let me know in the comments if you have read Tomb of Gods by Brian Moreland. I would love to dialogue with you and see what you thought of it. And if you have not read this book, what are you waiting for? Let me know in the comments below if this sounds like a book that would be for you. And until next time, guys, make sure you read more books. I'll talk with you soon. And let me give a huge shout out to all my patrons. I really appreciate all the support you give my channel. It means the world to me.